See, doesn't that make you guys want to skydive? Woo! So I've been, helping out these JDRF galas for the last couple years, and I have to say something. JDRF has some pretty damn good-looking supporters. You guys look awesome. Woo! So my journey with type 1 diabetes begins probably not a whole lot differently than many others who are diagnosed with type 1. I was a carefree 15-year-old girl, a moody, probably overly dramatic at times, teenage girl. And for about 1 week, I had the classic signs of type 1, increased urination and thirst. And my mom, who's a nurse, feared the worst. Now the thing about my mom, though, is that she always feared the worst. And to that point, I had been thought to have many ailments, all of which turned out to be nothing. So when she questioned type 1 diabetes, I just laughed it off and said, yeah, okay, Mom. But luckily, she knew the signs and she made me go get checked, because that day, October 20th, 2000, my life changed forever. Now at 15, a girl only cares about cute boys, going to the mall, and hanging out with her friends. She doesn't want to be told that for the rest of her life, she's going to have to take multiple daily injections, have to watch what she eats, poke her finger multiple times a day, and have to worry about low and high blood sugars 24/7. But from the moment I heard the words, "You have type 1 diabetes," as strange as it seems, I just accepted it. And I began to thrive and find ways to educate those around me. I started giving talks to my health classes in high school, making videos in my film classes on diabetes, and educating anyone and everyone who would listen. Somehow I seemed to find my calling in life in the strangest way. I didn't hate the fact that I had diabetes. I embraced it. I moved to New York City soon after high school, much to my parents' dismay. And my phone bill that first month was over $300 because my mom called me so much to check in. Knowing that there was no one to check on me, she was worried I might not wake up. I had an amazing opportunity in that time in my life to act and model. And despite having to get a little crazy with where I was going to hide my insulin pump during photo shoots, I got to live out my dream in the Big Apple. And diabetes never stopped me. I have all the usual struggles that most people with type 1 have. Daily roller coasters with highs for unknown reasons, and the lows that come from giving too much insulin trying to get that high down, only to eat for that low, and guess what? Have another high. I've battled insulin pump absorption issues, increasing insulin needs despite a relatively low carbohydrate intake, middle of the night lows that wake me up just soaked in sweat, just praying I can find something to eat or drink before I pass out. Technology has come a pretty long way in my over 18 years with type 1 diabetes. The Dexcom continuous glucose monitor, which wouldn't be available if it weren't for JDRF and supporters such as yourselves, has has been an absolute life changer for those of us who use it, and such a peace of mind for the parents of type 1 diabetics. We can finally see how our bodies are reacting to foods, illness, and stress as we get real-time readings every 5 minutes. However, as amazing as the Dexcom is and how much it helps those of us who use it and gives peace of mind to the parents, we also know that it's only a step in the right direction and a way to help us better manage this disease. It is still not a cure. When I started using the Dexcom, I just felt like I was really able to start enjoying life more without the fear of going low and not realizing it. I felt like I was able to just take on the world. I now knew if my blood sugar was dropping or raising, and I could act on that information. Now, I've always been somewhat of an adventure seeker. Swimming with sharks, parasailing, climbing waterfalls, skiing, driving around with my gas light on, going out in really tight pants and just hoping they don't split, all kinds of adventures. And I had always wanted to skydive since I was a teenager, so finally on a vacation I went and did a tandem skydive, and I was completely hooked. With only a few weeks, I was enrolled in a program to do my first solo skydive and get my skydiving license. When you're a skydiver with diabetes, you have a few extra things to worry about, not just the fact that your parachute might not open, but a couple other things. The last place I want to go low is when I'm falling through the sky at 120 miles per hour. So it takes some extra planning and some double and triple checking before I step on the plane, but sometimes it's hard to tell the difference, between like the low from the actual blood sugar or the shaky, jittery feeling of knowing I'm getting ready to willingly throw myself out of an airplane. But I know how fragile our lives can be when we're living with a chronic condition such as type 1 diabetes, where we can try to do everything right, and yet everything can still go wrong. But I have never felt more alive than when I'm skydiving. So now I jump out of airplanes, hot air balloons, anything else that flies for fun. And despite those few extra steps I have to take to do that activity safely, type 1 diabetes has never stopped me. And though I've never let diabetes stop me from doing anything that I want to do, it still has a funny way of reminding me that it's always there. I don't think I've had a good night's sleep probably more than a handful of times in the last 18 years. And I definitely read a menu when I go out a lot differently than people without type 1 have. Of course, the fear of complications and all the long-term wear and tear on my body is always in the back of my mind. But we are all here tonight because we believe in a cure for type 1 diabetes, and we can be the community that helps make that happen. I would love to say that I used to have type 1 diabetes. And I'm sure those of you who have been touched by type 1 diabetes would love to say those words too. So tonight, I'm going to ask you to dig deep, to join me and our honoree, Gary D. St. Hilaire, and live fearless as we come together to raise outstanding and necessary funds for type 1 diabetes research. Fund a Cure is the cornerstone of our gala program, and by making a Fund a Cure gift tonight, you can feel good knowing that 100% of your donation goes to the vital mission of JDRF, and it is fully tax deductible. So many people have helped us get to where we are today with the advancements in type 1 diabetes treatments and research, and it's up to us to continue this journey for all of those who live with type 1 or are touched by type 1 in some way. For my little diabuddies who unfairly don't get to live life as a carefree child. For the type 1 parents who are always worried. For the type 1 woman and her spouse who would love to have a child, but know that it's going to be a really complicated pregnancy. And for all of those that type 1 has taken way too soon. So after hearing my story and watching my video tonight, many of you probably think that I live fearless. The definition of fearless is being bold, brave, and courageous. But I feel that the real fearless people in this room are all of those who are living with type 1 diabetes and the family members, friends, and loved ones who support them. Many of us that are here tonight educate others on type 1, spread awareness, and advocate for all of the good that JDRF is doing, and we are so happy that you are here and for giving from your heart. Most of you probably aren't going to go and jump out of an airplane after hearing my story, although I highly recommend it. But you do face each day knowing that it might not be easy. You might have a good day, or you might have a day full of struggles and highs and lows, but still you take each day as it comes and you attempt to live your best life and do your best to stay healthy despite having type 1. That is living fearless. You are bold, you are brave, and you are courageous. And type 1 will never stop you. Thank you.